Maine Senate candidate Graham Platner appeared on Pod Save America to respond to some of the Reddit posts that were unearthed by Democratic opposition researchers after the entry of Governor Janet Mills into the Senate race. And while doing so, he talked about new oppo that is being circulated. Let's roll that, and we're going to get into it.
The reason that we are showing this video is because at the very end, you can see a tattoo on your chest. And I've been told that some of your political opponents are telling reporters that that tattoo has a Nazi affiliation. And I would like to know, is that accurate? Are you a secret Nazi?
I am not a secret Nazi. Actually, if you read through my Reddit comments, I think you can pretty much figure out where I stand on Nazism, and anti-Semitism and racism in general. I would say a lifelong opponent. And we went ashore and split Croatia, myself and a few of the other machine gun squad leaders, and we got very inebriated. And we did what Marines on liberty do, and we decided to go get a tattoo. And we went to a tattoo parlor in Split, Croatia, and we chose a terrifying looking skull and crossbones off the wall because we were Marines, and, you know, skulls and crossbones are a pretty standard military thing. And we got those tattoos, and then we all moved on with our lives.
All right. And so the story is that he went into a Croatian tattoo parlor, picked a skull and crossbones off the wall, turned out to be, have some Nazi symbolism. If you do walk drunkenly into a Croatian tattoo parlor, you are extremely likely to want, especially if you ask for a skull and crossbones, to wind up with some type of Nazi symbolism on your body.
Your first mistake is drunkenly walking into a Croatian tattoo parlor, because it is a high likelihood you walk out. And
so we can put up D2. Here's his. Here's the side by side. That's the Totenkopf.
Sagar is gonna. I'm sure Sagar should come on the Friday show and give us his full download on this.
Yes.
See a lot of thoughts.
So okay, pretty clear. I'm like, looks like Grateful Dead to me, but yes, clear. So last night, new oppo came out, which said that at one point on Reddit, he said that he wrote Antifa super soldier on his armor. Either I think it was in the Army or maybe back in the Marines. So we now have a candidate who is being accused in the same day of being fascist and anti-fascist.
We call it a full Platner.
The full Platner. Now, the way that this was revealed is that at his sister-in-law's wedding, and he talked about this on Pod Save America, he performed a Miley Cyrus song with his shirt off.
We've all been there.
And that's how people notice, wait a minute, what's this skull and crossbones you got on there? So we have to watch a little bit of Graham Platner performing Miley Cyrus. Okay, so I overpromised and underdelivered here. We can't actually play this because YouTube is going to take down the video if we play some Miley Cyrus. You know the song, though. This is Wrecking Ball. This is Graham Platner singing Wrecking Ball to his entire family.
You said he was shirtless. He is also pantless.
And he said those are his Marine silkies.
Absolutely hammered.
Yeah.
And singing Miley Cyrus. That's how people found the tattoo. And Ryan, you keep mentioning Oppo, shorthand for opposition research, meaning that another campaign pays people to dig up this information, put it in a file, and then the campaign drips it out to different media outlets, sort of in a strategic way to maximize the pain.
Right.
So maybe they're still sitting on stuff. Maybe they did this because Janet Mills, as soon as she announced her candidacy, got this predictable wave of backlash for being 77 years old and trying to become a senator with a 6-year term amidst all of this genuine concern about Democrats hiding Biden's infirmities. So the oppo comes out right away. That's what this oppo very clearly is. We discussed last week, Crystal and I discussed last week, how bizarre it was when Platner's old P. Hustle Reddit posts popped, that they had been screen capped within hours of them being posted. And they were from years ago. So before anybody seemingly knew he had a career, someone, unless there's a way on the internet to go back and make it, to find these posts in a way that shows they were posted 1 hour ago, 3 days ago, and screenshot them when they popped in the K-Files CNN story, it looks like somebody screenshotted them years ago. And maybe he had some enemies that were somehow...
Was the Wayback Machine capturing them? Could that have been it?
I mean, it's pretty hard to believe that Wayback Machine was capturing things in a way that showed up as 3 hours ago from 2020 or 2021.
Right, yeah, I don't.
It's
yeah.
all weird,
Yes.
but that is just to say this is opposition research very clearly.
Yeah.
It's not
Oh, absolutely.
people organically stumbling into these videos. And Platner preempted it by going on PodSave and releasing the video himself, which is a pretty smart move.
And releasing it all right after Mills announces her run just was kind of an in-your-face, like, this is Zoppo from us.
Yeah.
And it's not obvious yet, how this is going to play out.
Not at
the
all.
DC political class is telling me he's cooked. They told me that Donald Trump was cooked, probably 35 different times.
Yep.
Or more than that.
And Trump is singular, of course. But.
Now, his former political director, who seems to have had a real falling out and has left the campaign. We can put up this next element, Genevieve McDonald. She wrote, I've run out of self-restraint, worse than when I don't know what's going on with the Red Eats. Maybe you can tell me this. But
I have no idea.
Graham has an anti-Semitic tattoo on his chest. He's not an idiot. He's a military history buff. Maybe he didn't know it when he got it, but he got it years ago, and he should have had it covered up because he knows damn well what it means. His campaign released it themselves to some podcast bros, along with a video of him shirtless and drunk at a wedding to try to get ahead of it. The vault is open for the GOP to effing crush any dreams we had in the general, and literally everyone I know is fighting with each other on social media. We cannot be this painfully stupid. And so the best argument I've heard has been, yeah, okay, like it seems extremely plausible that some drunken Marines walked in and got a skull and crossbones tattoo, but you should cover it up once
rid of it.
Once you realize what it is. So, I think that's a reasonable criticism.
Yeah.
Unless you're doing some like Grateful Dead subversion where like we're rejecting the potency of this thing by like draining it of its meaning. I don't know. So we got, but now according to Platner, he only just learned of this. According to some reporting from anonymous acquaintances of his from 10 years ago, he used to be shirtless in the Tune-In, which I never saw.
You never saw that?
Never saw that. And would talk about it, that he kind of knew he had accidentally gotten this thing, and knew what it was by 10 years ago.
But the idea that it makes him a secret Nazi is completely insane.
No, what would make him kind of an idiot, maybe, or something like that, or reckless and like not getting rid of it. But go ahead.
Well, he clearly never thought that he was going to run for Senate, and so he just like was a sort of, I don't know if this is probably too derogatory, but kind of a fail son who was bopping around and struggling a lot after coming back from the horrors of Fallujah. And yeah, it's like probably it was bartending and probably not thinking too hard about whether or not he was ruining his career by telling this amusing story on how the point is, this has become a political controversy because his opponents are weaponizing it cynically, and that's what politics is. It's not surprising. If you're Janet Mills, of course you're using this. Does Janet Mills literally think Graham Platner is a secret Nazi? No. Is she trying to convince the people of Maine that he's a secret Nazi? Yes. That is completely insane. And this entire controversy with his Reddit post will have you believe that he's some type of anarchist, and also that he's a communist and a Nazi because he's been posting weird shit on the internet for years and has a tattoo. No, he's literally just like a stoner who posted all kinds of like his musings on the internet over a period of time and who served and has struggled a lot because of his service. And that's what makes politics so insufferable, is that this entire DC scaffolding tries to suppress and just smuggle in the crib any normal American who wants to get into politics, because normal Americans are not perfectly polished. They're Marjorie Taylor Greene and Graham Platner. Like, they're not used to being scripted political robots. And that comes with some genuine baggage. Like, it's genuinely baggage that you have a Nazi tattoo. You should have gotten rid of that shit.
Instead of skeletons in the closet, you got skeletons inked on your chest.
Skeletons on the chest.
And I would say just ethically, like if anybody has a Nazi tattoo that they got drunkenly, accidentally, when you learn that, you should cover it up. Like, that's what I would do if I had that. Yeah. But if he just learned about it now, maybe he will get it covered up. I don't know. Now, from a political perspective, I don't think that you disqualify a candidate, and we're going to talk in a moment to Ro Khanna about this, who has endorsed Platner. I don't think that if the Democratic Party wants to become a majoritarian party again and get normal people, and particularly men, to support them, they cannot say that if you have bad posts
on Reddit
or mistakes in your past,
yes,
that you can't run in the future, because then all you're going to get is Pete Buttigieg's. And actually, it appears to be a Pete Buttigieg guy from Pete Buttigieg's orbit who's been doing this oppo. We'll have more reporting on that soon. Otherwise, you become just a party of Pete's, Mayor Pete's, and we have seen that does not work.
Nope.
So you've already tried that. Now you got to try the other thing, and it's not going to be easy the whole time.
Nope. You're going to have some tolerance for normal people.
Yeah, Chuck Schumer seems to think that Janet Mills is the safe pick. They have had the safe pick 5 times, and Susan Collins is going strong. All right, so let's bring in Representative Ro Khanna. Joining us now to discuss what is truly a crucial crossroads for Democrats is Representative Ro Khanna, who endorsed Graham Platner early and has stood by him so far. Congressman Khanna, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Ryan. Still standing by him.
Yes, and I was going to ask that because you're in this oppo kind of vicious cycle where it's going to be hit after hit after hit, and people are going to keep coming back to, okay, what about now? What about now? What about now? I wanted to start with Chuck Schumer, who was asked about the main Senate race and came out effectively with an unsurprising endorsement of Janet Mills, who's the Maine governor. Let's roll D5 here.
Are you supporting Governor Janet Mills in the primary, and do you consider Graham Platner's recently unearthed comments disqualifying?
Look, I'll let the people of Maine decide the second. We think that Janet Mills is the best candidate to retire Susan Collins. She's a tested 2-term governor, and the people of Maine have an enormous amount of affection and respect for her.
All right, so she's a tested 2-term governor. I've seen that phrase going around. They seem to like the phrase tested, contrasting that with Platner, who they're implying, and correctly, is untested. So what's your response when you see that from Chuck Schumer?
Well, this is the game the establishment plays. I had to go up against an incumbent twice, and all the incumbents rallied around my conduct. And the reason that they do this is they know these people, and it's a club. And if you're part of the club, then you get the backing of the DSCC and Schumer. And if you don't know them, and if you don't know the donors, you don't. And people are tired of it. They're tired of the DSCC putting its thumb on the scale in Maine, in Texas, in Michigan, in these Senate primaries. I thought they learned the lesson from 2016 that the party should stay neutral. Now, frankly, the party was pretty neutral in 2020 in the primary elections, but they need to be in the presidential primaries. They need to do that now for Senate and House races. And my view is it actually just fuels Platner's campaign.
Well, yeah, I was going to ask, does the DSCC seem to have, and not just the DSCC, but like the kind of official party establishment, seem to have any awareness that their attacks on Platner could potentially backfire? Do they seem to have any awareness of what you were just describing, is that people are sick of it? We can put this next element on the screen. This is a report from Punchbowl's John Bresnahan, who says, when pressed on Platner's Nazi tattoo, Bernie Sanders, lashed out at the, quote, corrupt campaign finance system, adding, "We don't have enough candidates in this country that will take on the powers that be and fight for the working class." Now, that's not surprising from Bernie Sanders, Congressman, but do they seem to have any sense of awareness that's actually how a lot of average Democratic voters react to this type of thing?
I don't think they understand how disconnected the Beltway is from the base. I mean, 2/3 of Democratic voters want new leaders. And why do they want new leaders? First, the current leadership got us 2 terms of Donald Trump. Like, how could we say that's a success? By definition, it's a failure. In any sports team, in any business, if you had leadership and you kept losing, you would replace the leadership. The second point is that they are concerned that when you have working class candidates like Graham Platner, and they're willing to tax billionaires, and they're willing to call out the horrors of the war in Gaza, they're going to face huge scrutiny. And these aren't perfect candidates, but they want people who are going to question the establishment, because they're not concerned about a candidate's perfect biography. They're concerned about whether they're going to fight for them.
What about the argument from Schumer that it's just too much of a risk to run somebody like this, given the weaknesses that he has? You're going to get hit with these ads. He's Antifa. He's also a fascist. And therefore, you need to run somebody tested and safer like Janet Mills. What about the pure kind of pragmatic argument they're making?
We tried the safer alternative last time against Susan Collins. I respectfully forget the candidate's name, but she was the safe choice and she lost badly. And we've tried the safe candidate a number of times against Donald Trump. I mean, Hillary Clinton was the safe choice. Biden was the safe choice. Harris was the safe choice. The safe choices aren't working. Why? The American people keep telling us they want change. They want something that's going to take on the system. So why are we trying the old playbook again and again and again? And by the way, the Maine voters, there's one place I do agree with Senator Schumer, for Maine voters to decide. Let them decide. They'll be able to factor in electability. You don't need to do oppo dumps and put your thumb on the scale. Let there be a contest. As it is, Mills starts out with so many advantages. She has more name ID. She's a two-term governor. She has more fundraising. Do you really need to do the oppo dump? I mean, come on.
Bring us inside conversations to the extent that you can that are happening behind the scenes about the Platner oppo dump we're now like a week into. You had endorsed Platner, so I imagine, Congressman, you're getting some feedback, maybe some heat from people who say, "What are you doing standing by this guy?" What's the reaction like? What are the conversations like behind the scenes about what the party should do when it comes to Platner?
Well, I am getting some pushback, and what I say is, look, I think some of the comments were despicable, and obviously, no one should be having a tattoo, and that's horrendous. But we have to ask a fundamental question in this country, and that is, do we want our political governing class to be like the classmates I had at Yale Law School, some of them who dreamed of being president of the United States from the age of 12, who were not wanting to go to any parties because they were concerned someone would take a picture of them, and were scripting their lives to be on the Supreme Court or the Senate or president from the day they were student body president? Or do we want normal people also having a chance at these offices who make mistakes, who have regrets, who say dumb things, and who grow? And really, that's the question. And if you want all my Yale Law School buddies to be running America, fine. I think some of the Yale Law School folks are fine, but I'd like to have a more cross-section of America running the country. That's really the issue.
Yeah, and I think the bigger problem is that the country has had an opportunity to address that question themselves, and they have, rejected those Yale kids. Like, they're like, no, actually, this isn't who we want. So I'm wondering if it might actually end up being beneficial to Platner here, because he has, a lot of what politics is nowadays is people want to know who your enemies are and what people are saying about you. And there's something kind of so absurd about coming after a Marine for a skull and bones tattoo that I feel like it might make his it might make his critics look deeply out of touch, even acknowledging, like, okay, now that he's learned that this is actually a Nazi tattoo, he should probably do something about it. We need to, and we'll see what he does about it. But the broader question of getting attacked for a tattoo in a country that is awash in ink strikes me as could actually be beneficial to him.
Well, I think what's beneficial to him is the sense that the entire establishment is coming down on him, that you have the powerful Senate majority leader opposing him. You have the traditional media pundits opposing him. And then it actually gives him a chance to say, look, I'm actually changed. This is what they're afraid of. They're afraid of my positions in taxing wealth and standing up for the working class and being for Medicare for all and in calling for not having a blank check to Netanyahu. That's why they're going after me. But I think he's also handled it well. I mean, he's been honest. He's been transparent. He's admitted wrong. A lot of times, in my view, in politics, these quote unquote scandals, it's more about a test of how you handle it. Do people think you're honest? Do they think you're straightforward? Do they think you understand what the issue is? none of us are perfect. There have been, when I've run issues, everyone has criticisms. And I think what people are saying is, okay, does this person, is he dealing with it in a way that reflects character? So it's less about what Graham Platner said. It's more about what his character is today that I think will determine the success of his campaign.
Last question for me. Ryan has posted to the effect that this is a really crucial test for the Democratic Party. Congressman, do you see that in the same way? Is this a sort of test for the party going forward as to whether it'll be a party of, just Pete Buttigieg, people who wanted to be president since they were student body president, as you mentioned, Congressman, or a party for all Americans, average Americans, working class Americans?
I think it is a big test. It's a test of two things. One, is this party going to allow for outsider voices? Even though I, for example, went to Yale Law School as a son of Indian immigrants and not having a Khanna the Third in my name or a legacy, I always felt a little bit on the outside of this quote unquote groomed governing class. But are we going to allow people who have had unconventional paths, whether it's Graham Platner, whether it's Oram Mamdani, whoever it is, to be part of the conversation? But there's this broader issue, and that is, are we going to be a politics of ideas and vision and substance, or are we going to be a politics of personal destruction and scandal and being against things? So much of the Democratic brand right now is anti-Trump. It's trying to point out all his flaws, and now we're sort of trying to point out all the flaws of Platner. How about we be a party that stands for ideas going forward? Taxing billionaires, being for Medicare for all, having childcare, having a human rights foreign policy, having a jobs vision in the world of AI. I think that the question is, are we going to be a capable of being a party of big politics with big ideas? That's the real test.
And when it comes to resolving this tattoo question, do you think that Platner could get off the hook if he said that actually this is an homage to the Azov Battalion, or I'm going to cover it up with an Azov Brigade tattoo? Do you think that would kind of get him? Because the party establishment, it seems, okay with Nazi regalia in some circumstances.
Ryan, I think only 0.001% of the American people would understand that analogy.
Right. And they're all in Washington, D.C.
But
they're all in Langley.
I led a letter a long time ago talking about that issue in Ukraine and how we needed to confront that anti-Semitism. I think the way Platner is dealing with it, though, is fine, which is to say, I regret it. I'm going to remove it. It was something that I'm not proud of, but there are a lot of people like him who do things that they regret. And the question is how they grow and what type of person they are. But, look, I don't agree with a lot of President Clinton's politics today in terms of some of the policies. But one of the things he said in New Hampshire is they're making it all about my character, and I'm making it all about yours. I'm going to be doing this to see what is in it for you and what we can do for you. Richard Nixon famously said, American politicians are like toilet fixtures. They don't have to look beautiful. People just want to make sure they work. And ultimately, what people are judged on is, what is your ideas for improving the material lives of Americans until the American dream is done? What are your lies for taking on power? And I think that's where the election is going to be won or lost.
And I think you said President Clinton. I think you meant President Trump in that one. Yes. But Congressman Khanna, thank you so much for joining us. This is a fascinating moment for Democrats. Really appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Up next, Karine Jean-Pierre.
Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show, help support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.